waiting for my tech guy to tell me it's a go. Okay, all right. The special call session of the Board of Trustees for the Spring Independent School District is officially called to order on Saturday, May 17th, 2025, and the time is now 9:05 p.m. Trustees present are Trustee Correa, Trustee McDaniel, Trustee Adams, Trustee Newhouse, and Trustee Jensen, and myself, Trustee Durant. I would like to ask everyone to please turn off and silence your cell phones or any electronic devices. At this time, I'd like to recognize from Region 4 and actually thank them for their support in helping to facilitate our meetings, Dr. Rudy Trevino, who will facilitate this morning's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Board. First and foremost, wow, you're volunteers and you're here on a Saturday morning to listen to your community. It's just really impressive to see that. So thank you so much for your service and for the willingness to be transparent and listen to your community. My name is Rudy, and I won't introduce my colleagues, but they're all wearing blue shirts with the Region 4 logo on there. And I want to thank them as well for doing a great deal of prep work to be able to be of full service to you. We will have some translation devices if anyone needs them. No veo que se necesite el tener que traducir, pero si se necesita, por favor, infórmeles a alguien. I also want to say that the board will also participate in a little bit of this input gathering process. They're going to help us model the way we're going to do the open mic part of this morning. And in a minute, I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves and share a couple of things as well. Let me begin by telling you what the purpose of our meeting here is today. It's to gather your feedback to help guide the superintendent's search process so that we can collectively create a true profile of what Spring ISD needs in their new superintendent. Additionally, the board has asked us to help facilitate so that we can gather your voices, your different opinions about things. To be transparent with you, they have outsourced this support service to a third-party entity to be able to come in here and be very neutral about how we gather input and respect your opinions about things. Another compliment to the board to be open and transparent to that, because oftentimes other districts, I wouldn't say other districts don't really like to let go and listen to their communities as much. So I commend the board for that. This is a little bit of what's happening with stakeholder feedback right now. As of last night, we opened up the live survey to the parents in the community. And just in a matter of a few hours, we already had almost 200 surveys completed. So interesting to begin to hear this feedback come through. But today we'll dig deep into that process, and we will also dig deep into some of the content of that feedback process. So the purpose of that is to collect data, eventually create some themes so that we can turn that over to the board as they begin their process of screening and identifying the right candidates for the superintendent vacancy here. We will also be collecting data through some staff one-on-one and staff surveys to them. Numerous ways, numerous modalities to collect data and be able to fully represent the collective voice of the Spring ISD community. One of the things we want to do is always respect the inner fabric, the ethos of Spring ISD. So therefore, in everything we do, we want to talk about what the community has already spent time doing, which is creating the vision and the mission of the district. And I'm just going to read that just out of common courtesy and respect to the district. Fair enough? So Spring Independent School District is a district of choice for high-quality academics with innovative and specialized programs that meet the needs of all students in a positive learning environment. Spring Independent School District prepares students to be lifelong learners, critical thinkers, and responsible citizens who display good character, and they're ready to contribute, compete, and lead in today's global society. That is our North Star. Fair enough? So in the discussions throughout the morning, the next hour and 50 minutes or so, we want to be able to respect what Spring ISD is about. And this is a little bit of a roadmap as to how this process moves along a kind of a workflow or timeline. We create the profile, then the board begins their search. They already have a publicized website that allows candidates throughout the country to apply for the job. And then they enter into selection process, a screening process, an interview process. And through transparency throughout the whole process, they will eventually select their superintendent in the beginning of August. This is a timeline that's also been published, that the board published this week, and it is public, so please encourage people to look at it. Again, I commend the board for being extremely transparent with every step that they have decided on. So if you look, the application opened this week. The input gathering process opened this week as well. We're in the middle of that. We will involve you. We will invite the students, the staff, some business partners at the choice of the board, things of that nature. And then the application deadline is June 20th. So another compliment to the board. If you have summer plans, they're having to change many of their summer plans to be able to fully serve their community. So it's a summer task that requires a lot of their time and effort. But if you look at it, you will also fully understand that by August 4th, the board is envisioning being able to select a superintendent. Pretty common timeline, but also commend them because it seems as if their interest is to have a superintendent to open up the next school year. Some norms. So for the latter part, for the majority of this meeting, we're going to be turning it over to your voice. That was just a way of me introducing what's happening. But I will just like to start with some norms here. Very common norms, right? Nothing we're not familiar with, but just maintain a respectful space, stay on topic, and limit your responses to 3 minutes. We wanted to also honor what is standard in policy here, that there's a 3-minute limit for every speaker. But the board has also asked me to ensure that every voice that comes to our community town hall meetings is heard, and that I respect your ability to communicate yourself with the board. So if there is a need for adjustment, I will gladly adjust, but we would like to involve every voice in the room. At this time, I'm going to begin by asking the school board, which I hope most of you know them by now, but ask them to introduce themselves. And then here is their first question, which is, what makes an excellent community leader? As an outside consultant, we thought it was important for us to not just talk about the educational leadership component of a superintendent, but to more specifically focus on that community leader. Last thing I'll say is the best superintendents are the superintendents that are in the community, with the community at all times. But I'm going to turn it over, and Board President, I'll let you take the lead on this if you don't mind, but can you introduce yourself to your community and then tell us what makes an excellent community leader, and then maybe you can ask your colleagues to participate.
Good morning. I'm Justine Durant, President of the school board. I'm very honored and humbled to be able to serve in this capacity. What makes a good community leader? For me, I believe that you have to have a purpose. You have to know your why, is what they say today. Know your why. And a good community leader stays engaged. They are filled with passion, and they remain visible, which is what I often try to do. With regards to, and that's just in the community overall. What I try to do when you talk about a school district, it's imperative that you put kids first. I think that's what makes a good board member as well as a good community leader. I always say that our children are our number one resource, and investing in them builds our future and can guarantee it. And I want to play a small part in their lives and what happens within my community. And what happens in your community impacts you, and it impacts your children, it impacts your safety, it impacts your opportunities. And so staying engaged gives you an opportunity to do that. On the second question, or should I? One at a time. So you want to start down at this end with you, Trustee Hodges?
Good morning. Good morning. First of all, thank you all for being here, and I apologize for my tardiness. It's My life is not my own. That's all I can say. But, but thank you all. I'm Kelly Hodges. I've been on the board since 2019. I started right before COVID, so I still consider myself a new board member because, as you know, COVID was totally different. And so serving, I believe what makes an excellent community leader is someone who is transparent, not only transparent, but also visible in their respective communities and how they're leading, and also meeting people where they are and leading with intentionality. And I think that's one of the things I've learned a lot serving as a member of the Board of Trustees for Spring ISD. We have a very diverse community, and I think as a board, we work really, really hard to make sure that that everyone that we're serving, that we've been elected to serve, that's from the students, families, parents, our business community, that we work to make sure that everyone is included in the decisions that we make, but in particularly our scholars. So I really feel like leading with intentionality, meeting people where they are, being transparent and visible in the community will allow us to make the best decisions that we can as good leaders. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. My name is Carmen Correa, and I guess the benefit of being third is that I get to echo all of my colleagues' sentiments here. And just to add to that, yes, we are a very diverse community, so I think representation makes a big difference. Having a vision, having a purpose, meeting our community where we are, that's really, really important. And listening and really listening as we're doing here today and understanding what we're being told, and then taking that and making it actionable and actually putting that into effect. And so having a purpose and making sure that we are all on the same page and moving in the same direction. And so again, so echoing my trustees' commentary here, those are all very, very important definitions of what I think makes an excellent community leader.
Good morning. My name is Natasha McDaniel. I'm the proud Vice President of the Spring ISD School Board. And what makes an excellent leader, to add on to what has already been said, because I wholeheartedly agree, active listening was one of the top priorities on my list. The superintendent works with a range of stakeholders, from students, teachers, principals, business partners, the school board, and there's 7 of us. And so that is a lot of input. And so being able to hear not just what's being said, but also lead with empathy and really think about how the decisions that are being made are going to impact all of those stakeholders, and how there are opportunities to weave all of that input into the decisions that we make. I think that is not just active listening, but it also requires some strategic thinking. And so how those two work together, I think those are important qualities. Also, collaboration, which we talked about, is really important, like we're doing this morning and we're going to continue to do throughout this process, but finding ways to bring in voices, student voices, educator voices, all of those stakeholder voices for shared decision making. And then lastly, I'll just add someone who's visionary, someone who is able to inspire and empower the community to get involved and get engaged, and take that next step from whatever it is they're doing. How can they engage even more? How can they advocate even more for our students in our district? And so those are some top qualities for a community leader.
I am not going to repeat the wonderful things that have already been said, but I would like to, pardon? Oh, thank you. Introduce myself. That's one good thing, is communication skills. I'm Debbie Jensen, but everybody insists on calling me Dr. Jensen, so there you go. I am going to expand on the why and the decision making. There are community leaders we see on TV and we encounter in our lives, And sometimes you worry about that they're in it for themselves and their ego and that they just want to feel important. I say beware of those people. And then there are other people who are just deeply motivated to help a community and to listen to people and to be fair and to really help our students become successful. Those are the people I am really looking for. I know that some decisions are, we feel like they're very conscious and deliberate. However, the way human brains work is that many of our decisions are actually things that we're not even aware of because you're reacting to things day by day with things going on. And I feel that if you are centered on service and you're not centered on just pumping yourself up, then you are really going to be making more correct decisions for our kids and our community.
Good morning. My name is Rhonda Newhouse, and I appreciate seeing each and every one of you here this morning because I know it can be a sacrifice for some. But you are probably here for the same reason that our board is here. And so I have to echo and ditto, I guess, Debbie, what they said. And I'm happy to do that because it brings me pleasure to work with this board. Each one of us have the same sight in mind, keeping our students first. Each one of us are focused on what is best for our students and our community. Each one of us spends time in our community, in my churches, in my subdivisions, and events that are going on in our schools. We are out and we are listening, and we appreciate your being here and letting us hear from you because we can see that you are on the same level we are, making what's best for our students first. So I need a leader who is able to do that, a community leader who goes out into the community and listens to the community, that knows and understands its constituents, because we do have a very diverse community, and it's very important that our leader understand and works with our community, appreciates our communities, our good, our bad, our ugly. We are all focused on making our students number one, the best. And you saw that in our mission statement and our vision, and we want our leader to also focus on the same things that we have in our mission statement and our vision, making our students number one, what is best for our students. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to hearing from each of you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Winfred Adams Jr. This is my 8th year on the board, and I'm a proud parent of a recent graduate and a graduate from Westfield this year. And so I'll have one left in the system after this year. And so when I think about what makes an excellent community leader, I think about the things that I want for my family, my community, for my children. I think a great community leader is equity focused and a person of deep moral conviction and integrity. That's something that I'm looking for. Somebody who is willing and able to stand up for and eloquently advocate for our community. And to that end, I think what we will need is somebody who's what I term a superior communicator. And that doesn't just mean your ability to speak, but it also involves your ability to listen, to fully listen with both your ears and with your heart and mind. So I don't think there's a lot more to be added to this except for what will come from you all as I strive as a leader to be that listener I just decided that our superintendent should be. Thank you.
Thank you to the board members. It is extremely important to be able to shape the discussion, and what a great way to start us off. Now, at this time, with your permission, trustees, I'm going to ask for the three of you to gather around and huddle, and then the two of you here and the two of you here can pair up. And then if you, as a community, don't mind, same question, but in education, we call it turn and talk. If you don't mind having the discussion, getting to know who is with you in the community, and for about 3 minutes, answer the same question, perhaps with a little more privacy. So this is a good time for the community to get to know each other as well. Fair enough. So about 3-4 minutes, if you can find a partner, and the time starts right about now. What makes an excellent community leader? One more minute. All right, we're going to try to come right back. I'm, I'm an educator by nature, so I start with the soft voice, and then I'll raise my voice as we get there to get to a regular tone. But if you could all start trying to come back, and I always have a great deal of respect for the board, so you'll hear me often say, with your permission. But with your permission, board, I'm going to focus on the community for a little bit, and just ask if there are any volunteers that would like to share about your discussion as it pertains to what makes an excellent community leader. And you're free to come up to the mic and share. So this is an interesting kind of open discussion right now. Anyone that would like to share?
I said that, but I was given number 2 to speak, so is there?
You will have a chance for that, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Anything about this discussion? Yes, you could either use a loud voice or come to the mic, but we'd prefer you come to the mic, please. Because here's something I did not mention is, I have colleagues here that they're taking notes, but we're recording this, so we will use the data to create the information we need. So if you don't mind coming to the mic. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for volunteering.
Good morning.
What makes an excellent community leader to you and your colleague or colleagues you were talking to?
So I'm Sean McKellen. I'm a parent, but I'm also a teacher, and I just happen to be in a group with other teachers. One of the things we talked about, of course, we echo everything you all said, but we also talked about listening to teachers. Basically, the teachers are the ones in the classrooms, and we understand the needs of our kids because we're directly with them every single day, Monday through Friday. So more voice from teachers will actually promote us having higher test scores, having our kids being able to go out into the world, having our mission and vision come into play. So without the teachers' input of what directly is affecting the classroom, excellent leader wouldn't know unless they talk to the people who's in the work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else would like to come up to the mic and share what was discussed in your small group? Thank you. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Cyrus Johnson, and I'm a very active parent. This board definitely knows me. As we were sitting down discussing, one of the things that came up was, the lady I was talking to was talking about a leader is somebody who's definitely who understands also business and also understand the different aspects of what happens and what goes in our community. I know we're going to talk about the superintendent issue a little bit later, but as far as I'm concerned, a leader is somebody who can inspire people, somebody who can be creative and innovative, somebody who can think outside the box, and somebody who can also help our kids to inspire our kids to be in the same way. This district is a very large minority district which has a large number of Hispanic kids and African American kids, and I guess whatever the other ethnicities are, but we want to make sure that these kids, when they grow out and leave here, that they've had inspiration of seeing people that look like them, doing the things that we do every day on a daily basis, as teachers, as business people, as parents, as an administration, as a board that can, continue to inspire the kids, and that's very important. I want to say one other thing, and this is real important to me too. I was a part of the board that basically got the bond approved, and then after the bond, there was an election for the Vader. I was very disappointed that the Vader didn't pass. And the reason why I felt like the Vader didn't pass was because I don't think the district did enough to basically communicate to the community the importance of that. There's an assault on public education. We see it from the state, we see it nationally. There's an assault. And something has to change. So, and I guess to get back to the first question, we want somebody or a leader who is in the community, superintendent, one of us. It has to be someone or several of us who can inspire our kids, inspire this board, inspire this district administration to continue to help those kids to be better in the future. So that's my general statement.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Is there another volunteer that would like to come to the mic as to what makes an excellent community leader?
So good morning. I'll kind of echo what he said because I was a part of a small team that worked on the Vader as well with Dr. Hinojosa, members of my community. So I do believe that this district is lacking strong communication. I also, this past year, was a part of making sure people at our football games, we got out the vote. So I do think, again, the communication is lacking in this district. Strong communication and the ability to build the community. I've been in this community for 20 years. My daughter graduated from here in 2017. She just reminded me of that a couple of days ago. I was like, I thought it was a couple years ago, but she just reminded me. I was like, oh God, okay. But I don't recall communication from this district. But I was so involved then with ROTC, which is a very good program. I don't know what's going on with it now. I don't hear anything about it. You know, but building a community will make the students thrive to me. And I know in my community, and we have a large community there. I still see the kids walking to school or catching the bus, but there's no communication. We have a large church, Fallbrook Church, which that could be your bridge of building a communication. I have seen Trustee Newhouse there. I have seen President Durant there, but you have to be in the community. I have been an elected official. I have ran for another office, and it's important to build your community with your taxpayers, right? Because they need to see who you are, and whether that's holding town halls in the community, whether that's holding town halls in the churches, or because sending out things in the mail, that's not going to get it anymore. You have to be able to meet the people where they are, and that's holding these round tables, but in the community. So doing that would, and getting the teachers involved. I'm not a teacher, but my mom was a teacher long ago. And well, she was a teacher assistant because back then in the 50s, they couldn't be teachers, right? They had to be teachers assistants. And I remember her saying that it's important to build relationships with your teachers. And I have teachers in my community, and I hear them say that, whether it's HISD or Spring ISD, they're not building relationships with the teachers. So, board, I ask you to build relationships with the teachers. Okay, that is my stance on that. I have more to say, but I'll bring
And
that.
can you please state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's very important. Rosalind Caesar.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. We'll take another two individuals if you're interested, and then we're going to move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Board. My name is Dr. Charity Smith. I have worked with the board kind of as a liaison for many, many, many years, right? Been through about 4 superintendents. The one thing that I am looking for in this next superintendent is a transformative leader. I'm looking for someone who can speak the language of business and enterprise. One of the issues that I worked very closely with this superintendent with was trying to find creative ways for the shortfall, because it seemed to be the overarching theme time after time as to why there were challenges with programming or challenges with this or that. Follow through is going to be imperative if we are to not only meet where the shortfalls are, but now transform the district. I'm looking for someone who can speak the language of the future. I hear quite a bit where we say, meet the people where they are, where they are. For me specifically, I want to know where we are going, because we know where we are. We're here. And we don't want to be here. We want to expand and grow. So having the leverage of the business community is going to be imperative. And I'll say this in closing. We have to look at our challenges from a different point of view. Continuing to talk about the shortfalls from a point of talking to the state and asking the state or the governor's office to fund is falling, in my opinion, on deaf ears right now. But we have leaders in the community who can leverage relationships. And if we create some synergy with a win-win, which is what I was talking to the superintendent about, you won't find a shortfall in business leaders who want to give back. But it's creating the win-win. Where's the synergy? Where's the district speaking the language of business that gives them now, well, maybe we have some incoming students who, I'm fighting allergies, y'all, who is not just dealing with internships, but maybe this is their entry-level workforce coming from Spring ISD, right? So putting more focus on what industry is saying, because we're educating our children to either be entrepreneurs, to be problem solvers, to be somebody's employee, but we're not focusing on the end user of that, right? have that communication, guarantee you, we won't have any more conversations about shortfalls. We'll have the money. Money isn't the issue. Vision is the issue.
Thank you. Thank you for your great insight. Is there another volunteer that'd like to go before we move into our next section? Sir, would you like to, the probing question was, what makes an excellent community leader? But you can come on up, sir, if you'd like. And simply state your name when you begin, please. What makes an excellent community leader? Welcome.
Good morning. My English is not really good, but I am going to try to speak the best I can.
Y si necesita, a mí no me pagan extra, pero yo hablo muy bien el español.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, the issue was, this is my first time in one place like this. I don't have kids. I have my niece with me, and she is here in this district. The issue was what I got is a lot of issues in this situation. We can find what was the question, excuse me?
¿Qué es lo que hace una líder comunitario que sea excelente? What makes an excellent community leader?
Okay, what makes the leader is the education, how we plant the values at home and how we teach in the school. But the situation what we got is we are teaching. That's the main question. Because, excuse me, because the situation is coming a lot of people from other countries. I don't have an issue with it because I am not from here. But it's coming a lot of people for another countries, and those people, they come here like a genius. The people from this country, they say the other people is coming to steal our jobs. But the thing is, they don't feel the requirements to have those jobs because they go to the school, they don't learn anything. What you are doing with this country, with the education, is a big trash container with those brains they don't learn because nobody's teaching in the right way. That's it, the issue what we have. I have my niece here. She came with me because her mother passed away. I was begging since like almost 4 years for help with her. How she can be a good leader if she don't get the right education? If in the school, when I was looking for the help, these people came and say, hey, the school can do something else, but I don't know why they don't do it, but I need my job. I cannot tell you anymore. That's what one teacher told me. And how you expect is going to be a good leader if she don't have the right education? Then we need to change a lot of things. We need to change how you are educating the people. Take from any other country for the third world, like you say, take 5 kids and put 5 kids from here with them, and you can see where we are. When I was in Virginia, because I was living there, I'm auto technician. I was auto technician. Now I am a truck driver. But by those days, I have my shop. I have a lot of people from other countries. One guy, he was from Africa. I don't have an issue with another people. But what I say is how we say the people is coming to steal our jobs if we don't feel the requirement for those jobs.
We're out of time right now, but we welcome you on other questions.
Yeah, but that's the reason. Yes. We don't have a time.
Okay. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias por participar. Gracias. The next section, we will move into the actual role of the superintendent. We will begin by also asking the board to answer a question. Board members, this time, you don't have to all share if you don't want to, and we're also going to limit it to about 1.5 minutes so that we can move right back to getting the community's input. But I wanted to share a little bit about the role of the superintendent. The superintendent has many roles, but some of the primary ones are to lead the district's vision in the instructional priorities, direct oversight of budgets, personnel, and policy implementation. Superintendent meets with his staff or her staff, brings policies for the board to adopt, And the superintendent also is working closely with the board and engaging stakeholders. So at this time, board members, I'd like to ask you the second question, which is, what are some of the successes that you want the new superintendent to honor and support? What are some of the successes that you want the new superintendent to honor and support?
So I have a couple of things quickly. One of the things that we implemented from our superintendent is a zero-based budget. And so historically, all of our departments and schools had their budget year over year over year, right? And so, and it adjusted where needed, and it is basically adjusted by the number of students, right? We changed that process where we started everybody at zero. And then they would add what they needed for that year. That helped us really save a lot of money, and it helped us get spending that we didn't continue to need. Year over year, we may have been spending on things that we didn't continue to need at that time. So by going back to a zero-based budget, you're focusing specifically on the immediate needs and not historically what we did, but what was immediately needed. So I'd like to see zero-based budget continue. I'd like to see a continued focus on increasing morale within the district. I think we have a lot of opportunities for incentives around morale so that we can have better retention. And I'd like to see us continue our schools of choice and continue to offer choices. Right now, Spring has one of the highest number of charter and private schools in our district. We're at 32 charters right now. And we've lost close to 4,000 students in the last couple of years to charters. And we want to continue to offer choice so that parents will select Spring ISD. And so I'm going to just let my colleagues jump in if they want. Anyone else that wants to add to that question?
I'd like to focus on successes of students. Our district went to schools of choice, and also within the schools, they have choice. So any high school student goes to, they can actually get college credit and graduate that way. We have schools that are oriented to the special needs or career aims of the students, so that you can choose to go to Robertson for a STEM education. Quite a bit. There are other things there, but then, for instance, Bailey, it's performing visual arts, that sort of thing, so that you have all these choices. The other thing is, when I look at the students who actually are either competing or performing and they get to national level and even international level, these kids usually are in either athletics or PVA, performing visual arts. And my question has been, the kids work extra long hours to perform at just incredibly wonderful performance levels in these things. So what are we missing in the academics that we're not getting them to that level as well? And I think that we're actually hitting on some things right now with the we have some pilot programs at different schools where kids are actually making things, doing things, and learning that way. As a former teacher myself, and I will tell you, this group over here, that you were 3 teachers, the 3 of us are all former teachers as well. And we got one over there. So we have some prejudices about what really works in a classroom, and to me, it's there are different types of learners, and this is one where some schools are very successful and some aren't right now. And I would like to have a superintendent who is delving in to see what are the differences between how the teachers, their methodology.
I'll add on to that. Dr. Jensen mentioned piloting, and this year we implemented pre-K 3, and we've been seeing successes with that. We also have our Smart Start program, where we have some graduates just next week, we're going to have some little graduates, and they're 3 and 4 year olds. The program is where educators go into the home and teach families how to support their kids at home. And we've seen that students who graduate from our Smart Start program, they grow leaps and bounds, and you can see improve academic success with those students compared to those who were not a part of it. And there's research around pre-K in the same vein. So how we continue to, I would like to see a superintendent who continues to focus on early literacy and early childhood education in innovative ways. Also, improving teacher support. There were some changes in terms of differentiating professional development. Teachers said we want new training, we want different training, we want training that is more advanced based on needs. So making sure that we're continuing to improve those opportunities. And then being innovative. Something else that was changed was principal support as well. So we have a lead principal who goes out and supports several campuses, and we've seen academic gains with that as well. So just continuing to be, we heard the words innovative this morning when it comes to supporting teachers and what that can look like. And the last piece would be in HR. We've done a lot of work in the Grow Your Own pipeline and ensuring that we have support for paraprofessionals who are looking to be teachers. We have the Aspiring Principals Academy. So again, just finding new ways to cultivate the talent and the strengths that we already have in our district and supporting our teachers and staff.
I'm going to try not to repeat anything, but I might double up because there's a lot of good things. So
Just make sure we stick to a minute and a half. Yeah.
So several places where I feel like we've been successful, and one of the frustrations of being up here is that given the budgetary situation that we always face, and what Dr. Smith referred to with the way the legislature is, it always feels like we're playing a zero-sum game with resources and robbing Peter to pay Paul. And so a frustration I've had is I do not feel like we have adequately scaled up our two-way dual language programming, which there's the research that shows that the kids that are learning more than one language have superior brain development, and that has some effects on their learning for other content areas. I'm going to echo what Trustee McDaniel said about our pre-K programming. There's, again, credible research out there, and we've seen it ourselves in a study that was recently done that shows the positive impact of pre-K on our students. I want to make sure we continue to do that. Again, our PVA programs, I feel like we have scaled back from PVA in a way that we should not have, because it was netting us outstanding outcomes for our students. And budget crisis hits, and the first thing that goes is you're performing in visual arts. And so I want a superintendent who will be creative about figuring out ways to maintain our programs at those levels. I also I'm a strong advocate for equity, and I don't care what the state or the federal government says. Equity and diversity, equity and inclusion is a value add in our community, and I want to make sure that our superintendent is willing to stand up strong and speak to that. And then also, when I first joined this board, Dr. Watson talked about Springway Systems and Routines, which is basically, for those of us that were teachers, is TLAC, Teach Like a Champion. And I want to continue to see that happen in our schools. I think it's valuable for our students to have a culture of achievement and high expectations. Thank you.
My two are real quick, and you actually, Trustee Adams touched on one of them, was the changes that we've made through equity, the equity lens that we've taken on, the study that we've done, and the changes that we've made throughout the district. It's a work in progress, but the changes that we have made so far have made has definitely made an impact, and I would like to see the superintendent continue to keep that as a focal point on the decisions that we're making as a district for the future. The other piece is the table talks and the building bridges. That initiative that we're doing, I would like to see the superintendent continue that that dialogue and that open communication, that connection in those types of forums to get that community feedback. And so I echo the rest of my colleagues' sentiments as well, but just wanted to add those two.
I guess I need to focus on two things. One, I need to let the community know that our purpose for focusing on pre-K was the board's decision that no matter what the state does, we want pre-K full-time. The community needs to know the state did not support us in full day pre-K. They only wanted half a day. We said no, our kids need full day. So before the state even considered supporting pre-K, Spring was supporting pre-K with our money, not the state's money, full time. So we feel that it's very important that we start early. Also, we purchased the Teach Up Center because we felt we needed to support our teachers. We have a lot of beginning new teachers in our district. Unfortunately, teachers are leaving the profession, and new people that are coming in don't have the training that teachers that have left us have. So we feel it's important that we support our new people, put them with mentors, put them in a building where they can come and practice and learn from other teachers in the district. So I applaud us, and I need the community to know we're supporting our teachers through the teacher programs that we have in our district. And our new superintendent needs to continue to support our teachers because we have a shortage of teachers, and we need to keep those good teachers that we have and continue to work with the new teachers that are coming in. Thank you.
Good. Thank you so much for sharing, board. We do the same process, a quick turn and talk, and then we will enter into the open mic forum, which would be about 45 minutes. So quick turn and talk as to what are some of the successes that you want to ensure that the new superintendent honors and respects, honors and supports. And for those of you who walked in a little late, we're trying to pair up or get in a small group just to have a brief discussion for about 3 minutes within this question of what are some of the successes that you want to honor and respect as the new superintendent comes on board? All right, at this time, we're going to try to come right back. And this time around, for the sake of honoring the people that signed up to speak, we're only going to do 2 volunteers, and preferably, in the education world, we call it the no opt-out process, but I'm not going to pick on anyone. Just going to see if other people that haven't come to the microphone would like to volunteer from their sharing. Yes, please. Just simply state your name, please.
So I'm Dr. Elizabeth Jensen, and we were just talking, and the Start Smart program was really good for one of us, and I just wanted to share that for my kids, elementary school special ed did wonders for them. It was a really good program. And then as they got older, they both are in dual enrollment or dual credit classes with Lone Star College. And it's different, in schools, you have the teachers, they're kind of like, trying to figure out ways to motivate the kids. Whenever you get to Lone Star College, they've got that information and you've got to want to take it. And so it's completely different motivation regime, and it's been really good for my kids.
Wow, thank you. And you saved us some time, so if there's another 2 people that want to come up, we gladly welcome you.
So, good afternoon, everyone. In our group, we brought up
Can you
2
please state
different
your
things.
name?
Oh, I'm sorry, my name is Tangela Jones. Okay, we brought up 2 different things. One was the money or the bond that just did not pass. And, not the bond, the vapor. So, and I live in a community, I've been over here for almost 30 years. Okay, I just retired from Spring ISD where I was there 17 years. Okay, so the vapor didn't pass because the community didn't believe in what was on it, because the bond that passed, some things that was supposed to happen with the bond did not happen, or they bought a new property for the Spring High School when the school was supposed to be built on the old property. So that was deceiving to the community. Not so much that we didn't want teachers to get raises. We're all for teachers getting raises. They needed raises, but we couldn't believe that what you said you were going to do with it was going to happen, because there was some doubt about what happened with the bond. That's one thing. Also, the pre-K program is excellent idea. But what I will tell you is, I came here in 2005. My kids came with me. And when I came, there was no reading program. There's no phonics, there's no decoding, there's no, in elementary. Your kids cannot read. They're not going to learn to read if there's not phonics and decoding. You can do whatever you want to do, but until we get a reading program that identifies and works with that, then we're going to be at the same place. Our kids are going to go to middle school not knowing how to read. They're going to go to high school not knowing how to read. I've been on all levels here in Spring ISD, and that is what our problem is that we don't have programs that are teaching the basic fundamentals of reading. So if you don't have the fundamentals, then the kids are not going anywhere. So within the pre-K program, I hope we have gotten a program that works with decoding, phonics, and all of that. And if that's there, then we won't have the issue with our kids getting to high school and middle school and not knowing how to read. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Would anyone else like to come up and share?
Guess since I'm the only elementary in here, I'm Cecily Parker, the principal of Jenkins Elementary. I also have 2 nieces and nephews that are in the district that's at school that I raised at home. So I definitely am invested, been here since 2008. And I definitely heard Ms. Jones. We do now have programs in our elementaries that support reading. We go through the science of teaching reading. And and we have Amplify that are now challenging our students. What I want to see in the new superintendent is the balance. I want to see not only focusing on PVA and athletics, but I want to see academics. I want to see more talk about academics. I want to see more promotion on academics, because that's important. Our kids need to leave here college ready. I want to see more talk about advanced academics, because I came into education because I wanted to make sure kids knew how to read, kids knew how to write, kids knew how to do math. Because those are lifelong skills, and so what I'm looking in a new superintendent is to promote academics, showcase academics, making sure that is a priority. Because when we see the 5 best things, it's all about everything else. We have some wonderful scholars in our district that are extremely talented. And we need to promote those because those kids are college readiness. And we need to promote that so our other kids are aware that we do have students, as well as our community is aware that we have students that are going to Harvard, that is going to Howard, and making them the 5 best things. And so that's what I would like to see in our district as a superintendent.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The next part of the town hall is to enter into this Voices Matter open mic type of process. There were 7 members that signed up, and we will give you 3 minutes to speak. Preferably, we'd like for you to try to stay within the context. Can you get me to this slide, please? The context of these 2 questions, but we will respect the fact that you may want to speak about other topics. We will honor that as well. And if that leads me at about 10:30, but if there is another individual or two that did not sign up when they walked in and you want to approach me while the speakers are up, depending on time, I will honor a couple more of you, but I will follow the list the way it was as they walked in and signed up. A couple of norms, just try to stay within the time, and try to, perhaps if you're going to mention names, things of that nature, you may see me gently interact so that I can keep us focused. So the 2 questions are, what qualities do you want in your next Spring ISD superintendent? And what priorities does the new superintendent need to focus on? But I will honor and respect the fact that parent Dr. Smith signed up, and we'll allow you to speak on either one of these topics or your own topic. Thank you, Dr. Smith.
Questions up there to keep us on time?
Yes, ma'am. Can you keep
I'm also a preacher, and I have a tendency. Yes, please. Said preachers tend to go over time, so keep it up so we can stay on topic.
Dr. Smith.
So the first one is, what do I look for in my superintendent? I think I touched on it in my initial remarks. I'm looking for a transformative leader who can speak to the business community and leverage those relationships. I'm also wanting to speak to Trustee Adams' point about diversity, equity, and inclusion. One of the issues, or one of the challenges that I was speaking with our current superintendent about, is representation. I would love to see more African-American males in classrooms. And when we talk about instruction, I looked at kind of the population of teachers, and we don't have that particular demographic front and center that I can see. I think it's important that we see that. And then when it comes to the priorities of the superintendent, we have kind of a budding global, international community at this, I think at BAML, I believe it is. I would like to speak more to the global system of things. And what do I mean by that? Introduction of languages. I've shared with our current superintendent, I work in the UN. I hope that's not going to be on, well, that's out there now. I'm out there. And so access to countries, to parliaments, to governments, etc., that can tie our students into those conversations. One of the things I find is that our students don't have a global worldview. They don't see themselves outside of Spring communicating, contributing to a global world that they will have either impact in or impacted up on if they don't have that sense of connection. So I would like to see a superintendent who is aware of not only the populations in our ISD, but how do we speak to that? And then how do we bring in people who have specializations that can speak to what we're going to? Finally, going back to the top of the question, what am I looking for in the next superintendent? I'm looking for courage, someone who will make the necessary decisions in the best interest of the ISD. We are in a very precarious situation, and we're not going to have everyone on board. It's not going to be easy getting forward. And I think those of us who are in the room have signed up for that. We know what that looks like. So we're looking for a leader who will have the courage to make the necessary decisions about the fiscal well-being of the ISD, about the academics, and I appreciate that principal, and I didn't get your name, ma'am, but the principal who talked about academics. I am a strong STEM supporter. Strong, my daughter had the privilege of graduating from Howard, cum laude, engineering degree, debt-free. And that wasn't only because of Spring ISD, because I insisted, but that's a whole different conversation, right? I insisted. But the point is, she's one of the success stories because she had teachers who put academics first. So getting back to the rigor of educating our students and not just passing exams, but getting to the rigor of learning is something that I fully want the next person sitting in that seat to have front and center, right? And so in any way, I have a lot of opportunities where I can leverage and bring in, please call me to do that. That was something else I stated. You all have resources. Going on tangent, but I'll get off in a minute. There are resources here, and we want to leverage, but we are not asked. And when we give those suggestions, the follow-through, somebody talked about communication, the follow-through has not been there, right? Even after showing up meeting after meeting after meeting, still have not been called into those meetings to move the needle forward. We're hoping that this will be a reset coming in August, where we can have a reset in the classroom, the community, etc., and let's move it forward. And I volunteer to help with the reset of that. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Dr. Maricela Jimenez.
Good morning. I took some notes. Again, my name is Marisela Jimenez, and some of you in the community understand that the board was elected by each one of you. So I want to premise again that all of you elected each one of you, and I want to begin with that the board is elected by the public community. Therefore, I encourage the board to begin to do a deep root analysis of what the community wants and needs and expects, not just as parents, but also as business leaders and also as homeowners and even those newcomers, right? I am a newcomer. As 5+ years ago, I immediately became immersed with Spring ISD by becoming a mentor, and then learning and going into different opportunities to empower girls. But let me say that as the board begins the search for the superintendent with the support of professional leaders like your organization, I want you to do a deep root analysis of where are we. So the district is experiencing a new season. Define the season. What is the new season that you are experiencing 2025? Then create that those solutions. Based on those solutions, you're going to not just roll out a job description for the next superintendent. The superintendent needs to fulfill the board of trustees' priorities, and in each priority, the superintendent will deliver metrics that are going to be supported by the community. So it is the community who should come back and do performance evaluations reviews for the superintendent with the board's alignment of metrics, and therefore the teachers, the superintendent being very immersed in the community with business industry. What are you needing in the future workforce? Because we talk about a lot of things, but the students here in Spring ISD are coming to be consumers of education with a hope that they will be productive citizens and productive employees in spring, right? And so I speak on behalf of businesses, I speak on behalf of parents, I speak on behalf of as homeowners, taxpayers, and I think I also want to emphasize the behaviors of the superintendent. Some of you emphasize on, courage. I think she needs, or he needs, or that person needs to be a warrior who is going to not focus so much on the quantity of students, but on the quality of education. The quality of education will be really the highlight of how Spring ISD superintendents are leading the community, the very community who elected you. And so I will continue to support Spring ISD. I'm a member of the community. I'm willing to continue to pour out of our resources, and the talent is in the community. So while you hire consultants to guide the process, encourage the community to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jimenez. The next person is Ms. Elizabeth Jensen.
So that we can keep the
Parent,
questions
thank you
up
so
and
much.
you can stay time aware, we're going
At
to,
the request of the community, we're leaving the question up, and then the timer is going to be on the podium.
so if you will, just click the play button for us.
Thank you.
Okay. My name's Dr. Elizabeth Jensen. I am a parent and an expert in safety. And I would like to recommend that the search committee include an inspection of the conflicts occurring around candidates. For example, what are their third rail topics? And this is important because I want to raise awareness of a disastrous failure mode that I call organizational safety failure, the end result of which is collapse, HISD. From studying various cases of this failure mode, I've identified 6 red flags. Number 1, decisions are made contraindicated by science. What this means is the preponderance of evidence shows that the decision being made is probably going to harm people. Number 2, scientific inquiry into the effect of these decisions is blocked. While the harm is predictable, managing to interfere with documenting it enables avoiding consequences. Number 3, reasoned dissent is suppressed and punished. This is a particularly unique aspect of an organizational safety failure, where the policies which are intended to protect people are subverted to punish those working to protect people instead. Punishing a whistleblower, for example. Always be wary of policy or legal changes and how they impact safety enforcement. Authority has a conflict of interest. Ultimately, this is the fundamental driver to organizational safety failures. Conflicts of interest can be financial and or emotional and can run the gamut of topics from profit-seeking to avoiding being fired to sadistic pathology. It is very hard to prove, so 4 or 5 of these red flags being present then should indicate that you need to look closer. Insular or biased training of authority is number 5. A trainer is considered a topic expert when he or she is an activist mentality. The bias in the training is strong. Also, many workplaces in trouble only do their own inside training. This model does not adapt well to changes. Number 6, clients or workers are received with hostility or malignant condescension by authority. Administrators are not going to listen to workers raise issues if there is no mutual respect. Similarly, the frame of mind that the leader knows what's best for the followers, regardless of what is happening to them, increases the likelihood that the leader doesn't want to know or care what the impact of his or her decisions are. When an organizational safety failure gets established, it feeds on these conflicts of interest. Administrators become incapable of diverting from this path, which is how the organization collapses. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Parent Cyrus Johnson will be followed by Parent Nicole Johnson.
Okay, I want to thank the board for this opportunity to speak. I guess when I think about a superintendent, I want somebody who is, as we've all been saying, who's visionary, somebody who can inspire kids, somebody who can think out the box, and somebody who can inspire their staff and the board to think outside the box. The real passion that I have for this district right now is the issue with the budget. We have a $13 million shortfall. And I just heard Trustee Newhouse talk about wanting to retain teachers. You know, I work for a firm that basically does business with the district, and I've had an opportunity to go out to some of the schools, particularly elementary schools, and I see those schools with either 50% or less capacity in the schools, which means that the schools are too big for the population that's in the schools. So the question becomes, what are we thinking about? What is this new superintendent going to think about? What is he going to inspire the board to do? Do we need to close some of those schools? Have we built too many schools? Can we retain the teachers that are in those schools, maybe to move from a school where we might consider closing and going to another school that can actually increase the population of that school? Also, from the standpoint of operations, what does it take on a daily basis to operate some of those schools that are that are not full capacity? Is it $1.5 million, $2 million a year? If it is, then can that money be used basically to help deal with reducing the deficit that we're faced with? So to me, those are, and I want a superintendent also who's willing to inspire to make those hard choices, as the lady was saying a little bit earlier, and not afraid, because sometimes hard choices have to be made. You know, when I look at what's going on in the district right now, we're getting ready to build a brand new high school, Spring High School. We have a ninth grade center right behind it that was built, 5, 6, 7 years ago. We spent $40 million building that ninth grade center. Now we're going to build a new ninth grade center along with the high school for that. What's going to happen with that ninth grade center? That's $40 million that could have been used to do something else. I mean, I don't understand that. Do it middle school, which I also had gone to see some work, is falling apart. This superintendent has to understand that the state, the nation, or whatever, the Department of Education at the federal level is not going to help us. We got to figure out, the superintendent's got to figure out a way to think about how we can be creative to maintain a good school district, to maintain a school district that's running operationally well, to maintain a school district that is financially healthy. And one last thing, I would like to see a superintendent who is very business-minded. We give this district awards a lot of projects to large and small firms. A lot of those large firms are not always the best firms. And at the same time, are those firms hiring our kids who are going to be architects, engineers, doctors? Do we hold them accountable to hire our kids? To say, hey, look, you're doing business with the district, but what can you do to help our kids? If they're an architect, if they're an engineer, can they work in your firm? And I don't mean one or two. Spring High School is going to be, what, $350 million to build? 600,000 square feet? That's about half as big as Willowbrook Mall. We gotta have somebody seeing that if we're gonna do business in the community with some of these firms who are doing business with us, they need to also be, they need to also help us and our kids as we help them to grow and go out into the world. So that's what I think needs to happen.
Thank you for your insight, Mr. Johnson. Ms. Nicole Johnson?
Yes. Okay, my name is Nicole Johnson. I am a parent volunteer. I've been a parent volunteer for the last, my allergy, excuse me, for the last about 10 years. And one of the things, there are several things, and I'm going to be very, very straight to the point. A leader with empathy and that knows how to build relationships within this community. There are a lot of resources that I know that I feel like go untouched. I've always tried to, as a parent volunteer, go into the community and use the small businesses when it comes to PTO work, when it comes to maybe doing a lunch for teachers or whatever that case may be. I try to use the small businesses, not the larger restaurants, because they're always going to have the support of the community. As a parent, I know that sometimes we go into it as, I'm going to make sure that my daughter has. It's never been my thought. It's always, I'm doing for all students. I'm doing for the campus. For teacher appreciation, I make sure that the teachers have their special treats, but I do for the campus. I think we all should take a example from that. Don't be afraid of change in all things, no matter what. I've always taught my daughter that the longer you live, the more change you will have to adjust to and accept. And so for me, the policies and the people, some of these things are going to have to change. We can't continue to do the same thing if we want something different. And we want something different. We need to use the businesses, I said that part already, use the businesses in this district of all diverse backgrounds. An active listener, a good communicator,
There's a lot that can be said for that, but the part of actively listening, it is very, very important that the next superintendent can listen to all and the concerns of all. Be approachable. There's something about being able to walk up to the superintendent and say, I have an issue, or to walk up to either one of you and say, I have an issue. If you don't listen to those that are in your community, who are you leading? Are you leading for personal gain, or are you leading the people in this district? And lastly, always look ahead. My husband spoke about closing schools, and I know no one wants to discuss those types of things, but the repurposing, oh, that went fast. Can I finish
It's okay,
this
you
one?
can finish your statements, go ahead.
Okay, this, repurposing buildings and, oh, wow. Okay, thank you. Repurposing buildings, there's something that we need to do different there. And I know that we all talk about schools that have been built and schools that are going to be built. There are too many schools here and there, but there's a way to use and utilize the buildings that we already have. And there's something about looking ahead and being a little bit more prepared, or saving the money. There's a way to do that. I wish I could actually help you with that part, but the part that I really wanted to say is the mission is the students, the staff, and the employees of this district, the people that live in this district, and even the people that don't have kids in this district. They're very important. And I think at times they feel left out. They feel like we're continuously asking them for money, and what does it benefit them? They need to see their money, where their taxes are going. So just consider that in the next person that you choose, that they will consider all people in this district.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Ms. Tangela Jones? Tangela Jones?
Which one do I hit? You just hit the space bar.
Would be followed by Rosalind Cesar.
Okay. Once again, I'm Tangela Jones, and the main thing that I want to say about selecting the new superintendent is we need a superintendent that can identify with the community within where he's going to manage. We need one that not just moves into the community and have no idea about what the population is in the community, not knowing the need of the community. The superintendent must come in with the knowledge of knowing what is needed for our kids. They have to be able to build a relationship, to know the community, to go out and express, like one of the prior superintendents, when they first came in, they were having town hall meetings. They were meeting with the community. We were talking, and that was going great. We need that to continue. We need whoever to come in is to continue to hear our voice, to hear what we're in need of. We need one that cares about not only the teachers, not only the students, but the families that are within the community. If we feel like that you care about our kids, then we're going to give you whatever you need for the school district to survive. When we feel like you're just here and you're just collecting, or you're creating positions at the district office and becoming too top heavy and not making identification where the need is, then that's when you have the pushback from the community. We need a superintendent that is honest, that's truthful. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Do what you say you're going to do. I know things come up and you can't always do everything that you're going to say, but make an effort to be truthful in what you're saying. We keep going over the budget and about how some things need to be revamped or closed or put together to save some money. If that's the case, don't be afraid to close some of those schools. Other districts have had to do it, and then use that money to recover the money that we need to pay our teachers more money. The teachers need more money. The counselors need more money. The administrators need more money. Educators need more money. We're the only profession that you have to test for $300 or $400 to get a raise, and the raise is nothing. They give you a raise, and then you're in another tax bracket, or the insurance goes up. So our teachers and our educators need more money as well. Unless we do something about that, then you're going to continue to lose the staff in Spring ISD too. So the superintendent needs to come in with the mindset of recovering some old good teachers that have left the district, and come in and focus on the welfare of the community and the students. Students are first. Make them feel valued, give them what they need, and they won't go to Lone Star and can't compete with the students even at Lone Star. If we're doing what we're supposed to do, our kids will not be behind the mark and go over to the colleges and come back home after the first semester because they cannot make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Ms. Rosalind Cesar? And I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. Caesar. Ms. Rosalind Caesar.
Put it on three, man. Gotcha.
All right, just space bar whenever you're ready.
Okay. I want all my minutes. I'm just saying. Okay, so, I'm Rosalind Caesar. Some call me a community leader, but I'm just here to serve and be a voice where a voice is needed. Here's my concern with the superintendent. The superintendent must be a visionary. Not saying the previous superintendents didn't have that, but we are definitely moving forward. The superintendent must be innovative, and this next superintendent has to stand strong, be bold, and make difficult decisions in critical times, because we are definitely here in Spring ISD in difficult times. And I want to touch on three things. This voucher system that I think is a scam. We are here now, so we have to approach it. I really believe that the superintendent and the board, because the board is the one that's going to appoint the superintendent, have to speak boldly about this system, this voucher system, because our parents do not understand what's going on. They get little clips and bits, but you guys have to tell our parents the real truth about this voucher system. And this superintendent, whoever y'all choose, have to do this. This is very, very, very important, y'all. Y'all have to do this. Trustee Durant mentioned a zero-based budget. I like that, but we are in a deficit. We are in a big deficit. I do not want to hear nothing about HISD 2.0 here. It's very important that we get our budget under control, and it's very important that the superintendent understands we need to get this budget under control, and we have to get it under control now, because if not, we are headed for a devastation like these other school districts, and like it could be possible like HISD. And I don't want to hear Mike Morath. I don't want to hear him on the news talking about HISD, Spring ISD and all that. So this superintendent has to understand that. The pre-K program is very important. It's the important foundation to our students. So the superintendent has to understand how important that is. The Start Smart, that's very important. I've never heard that until today. This superintendent has to come in with communication, and they cannot stop here. They have to bring it in the community. You know, guys, how Jesus did. He walked the community. And I don't want to be political in here, but the superintendent has to be in the community. He cannot be behind this desk. Wherever Spring ISD is, wherever our taxpayers are, that's where you, the board, and the superintendent has to be. If not, we are failing our students, since our students are first. He is failing our students. You guys are failing our students. And our principals needs to be with them, with y'all. Some of our teachers need to be there, because look, we do not need to be on the news. We do not need to be having clips and bites on these social media platforms. because our parents need to understand how important you say our students are, but if our students are very important, our parents are not hearing that, right? So please take this information into consideration. I know I'm the last one, right?
Good? No, you're
Okay.
not the last one. We had some other people sign up, but you can finish your statement.
Okay, so please take all this information in consideration when you are looking for this search. I feel like you should get someone in Spring ISD because they already know the community. They already understand the community. Don't get someone in Dallas or California or somewhere like that because that's not that does not help the students if we are student first. Thank y'all.
Thank you for sharing. Miss Erica Douglas, staff member, followed by Sean McKellen.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Erica Douglas, and I am an administrator at Winchie High School. I've also had the pleasure of being an administrator at Westfield and working at Spring High School as well. So I truly believe in Spring. I would like a superintendent that embodies our leadership definition, someone who is a compassionate leader, who's relationship-centered, and will listen to the needs of the community and the students and the staff. I would like to see us have an outcome-driven leader who will push us toward excellence so that we can be the spring that we know that we can be. I would also like to see us have a leader who is service-oriented, who will be in the work with the people and in the community, serving alongside those that they lead. As far as what I would like that superintendent to focus on, I would like to see a superintendent who will focus on growing leaders from within, so that we can truly grow our teachers and our administrators. I would like to see more professional development for our teachers so that they can hone their craft and be the best teachers in the area. And I would also like to see us continue our focus on CTE and advanced academics across the district, starting at elementary, moving us through high school. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Dr. Douglas. Thank you.
I don't know how to. Yeah. Good morning again. I'm Sean McKellen. Just to answer the two questions, what qualities do we want in our next superintendent? For me, some of the same things we've already said: empathy, vision, definitely communication. The person has to have a moral compass, has to be strategic, resilient, because we're going through a lot, right? Resilient, adaptable, high level of integrity, and most of all, if they're coming from another district, a district that's similar to ours, right, has the same population, with a proven track record. That person should have a proven track record and a success rate that we can actually quantify. There has to be some type of something that we can measure, not just talk. Some of the programs, priorities that the superintendent should focus on, we talked about a lot, but as a parent and as a teacher, I can tell you those are not being implemented properly. So as a new teacher, I'll go ahead and say, if there's a program for new teachers that's supposed to have a mentor, I never heard of it. As this is my second year, I've never heard of the program. I don't have a mentor that came and is walking me through the process of being a teacher, side by side. Is there a DOI program? Yes, but is there somebody specific that says, I'm going to walk you through this process? We talked about our kids leaving and going to charter schools and our teachers leaving. You know why? Because we're not competitive. We're not competitive at all in education or in pay. So when we look at our education, a lot of kids are going to these schools because of STEM, because the parents know that the world is trending toward being in STEM. But in this district, I can tell you now, you all focus on science. You focus on English and math, or reading and math. But when it comes to science, you really don't focus on it. You know how I know? Because at principal meetings, you never talk about the science numbers. You know how I know? Because I'm a science teacher. And then when my principal comes back and say, we didn't talk about your science numbers, that's a problem for me. That's a major problem for me. So if these charter schools are offering science and technology and we're not, that is a problem. Maybe because the funding for federal government is only focused on reading and math, you all focus on reading and math. But it's still, you're not going to tell me that we take a science star and that science star number is not part of our big picture. But we don't push science until you get to fifth grade. I'm a fifth grade teacher. That's how I know. The kids come to me not having any science. And so now as a fifth grade teacher, I'm forced to get them everything they need to know from third to fifth. And that's why we have a deficit. So when we talk about the budget and we talk about teacher pay, when we talk about all these programs we implemented and we say we're going to do things, try to come back to the table if that's not working. It's okay. It's okay to say, we say we're going to do this, but it's not working effectively. How can we change it?
Thank you for sharing, Ms. McKellen. And I also want to just thank everyone that signed up to speak. We truly appreciate your input, your insight. We have enough time to transition into another activity. We're going to spend 7 minutes on that activity. It is if you are aware, if you're an educator, some of us call it the parking lot. It's the chalk talk activity. So you can, my colleagues will begin to pass some Post-its and some other additional pens and things of that nature for you to write on one of these bigger Post-its throughout the wall. We'll do that for about 7, maybe 8 minutes, and it will begin to wrap the town hall meeting here. Thank you all so much. So here's the question. What challenges do you think our district is currently facing that the new superintendent should be aware of? So you can put your information on one of these. They're all throughout the room. And if you see something that you want to elaborate on, you can also continue to write on that. But we invite you to please share. If you didn't come up to the microphone, this is a good time for you to also share. So 7 minutes, and we will talk about what challenges do you think our district is currently facing that the new superintendent should be aware of. We've got 2 more minutes, so if you could please capture your information and put it on the Post-it. All right, 1 more minute. The facilitator's worst nightmare is an authentic community, an engaged community, and that I have to bring back to their chairs, right? I have to stop all the fun. 1 more minute. All right, I'm gonna try to bring us back to our seats. Again, I would gently just increase my voice as I do that, but did want to say that this is the most challenging thing, to stop great discussions and try to keep us within the timeline, because I really wanted to keep stretching this time. This was great time, great engagement, great input. I did take the liberty to go around and take pictures of some of the responses. I will read them without necessarily engaging or trying to put my tone of voice on some of these. But forgive me, board, if I do that. One of the comments stated, my kids have done virtually 0 science labs throughout their K-12 years. The other comment was, let's be honest, teachers don't feel supported. We need quality PD, professional development, and we need to address discipline concerns. The next one was, the new superintendent must live in and be a transformative part of the Spring ISD community. We need to utilize the small businesses and build relationships to benefit our students, our scholars. Focus on that budget, the STEM academies, and diversity. And my personal favorite, this is my bias board. I don't know who it was, but it just said, do not be afraid of making changes. So kudos to the person that wrote that down. Because I think change and transitions are sometimes difficult, but it's interesting that there's at least one community member saying, do not be afraid of making some changes. We're going to move into trying to wrap this up. We have 8 minutes, and I am known to try to finish right on time. So Ms. Angel is one of my colleagues. Is going to walk us through what is in the public's facing right now, which is our survey. If you're a teacher, you will be receiving a survey soon, next week. And we are in the input gathering process right now. So Angel will show us what you will see. So if you haven't completed the survey, please, you can access this QR code, or you can go to the website that the board has posted. And this is what the survey will look like. We try to make it very easy for you to navigate. And the first, if you could scroll down, Angel, real quick, and you'll start now.
Well, and there's also, if you want it in Spanish, you can click the drop down and it will change it to Spanish.
It's also in Spanish. So when you get a chance, complete yours. You can do it now. And then the real request is encourage your colleagues, your community members, your neighbors to complete their survey. It is very important for us to give the board an aggregate, a composite message of what the community wants. We also have paper copies if you don't feel comfortable with this. So I have colleagues back there. If you want to write it out, you want us to spend a little bit of time, we can do that as well. And my colleagues in blue shirts, you can also stop them on your way out and tell them anything you couldn't tell us out in the group, in public, you couldn't write in a sticky note, and we will gladly honor your comments and document that. Yep, we're passing the QR code throughout here, so you will have access to that as well. And did you need to approach me, ma'am? Sure. Give me just a second, board, if you don't mind. Yes, ma'am. All right. I wanted to, first of all, thank you all for being here. It's a Saturday morning, and you are the voice of your community, and we're outside perspective looking in. And I was just sharing with a colleague that I have the opportunity to go to different communities and do similar type of work, just like I have the opportunity to go and work with different type of boards. But I just can't thank you enough for being so professional, so fact of the matter, and your opinions came across, and your real heart for your district was evident from the moment I walked in, and many of you started walking in. That's commendable. Keep advocating for your children, keep advocating for your community, and I know that through the guidance and leadership of your board, you will find the best superintendent that Spring ISD needs. And to the board, before I turn it over to the board president, I also get to work with a lot of boards. Not all of them have the courage and willing to sit for about 2 hours and listen to their communities. And you did that today, and they've asked me to help them with other community meetings, other town hall meetings, and that's commendable. So I want to thank you for being of service to your community, and thank you for being so open-minded and innovative that you allowed us to serve as your partners in this process. Board President Durant, I'll turn it right over to you. I did have a point of privilege, if you allow me. There's a community member that wanted to say thank you. And you can approach real quick. I'll give you 30 seconds.
Less than 30. There was something I spoke with you all about, and I wanted to be on the record as offering options or solutions day one. One of the ways that we can start to monetize buildings that are empty, you have a small business community here who's looking for competitive rates in renting space. If there is a way that the school district can now partner with ISD, with the community, to lease out space during the day, it will help small businesses scale their business. They will remember that Spring ISD was a partner and that money is circulated within the community. So if you're going to start to now move populations of students, consider partnering with small business communities, giving them the opportunity to lease out business space during the day, monetize that money comes back to the community, goes directly into the ISD, and now we can start to fund labs.
Thank you.
We
I'll turn it over
appreciate
to you.
I did capture that you shared with me earlier, and I appreciate it. I want to get people out on time, and I have a couple things I need to wrap us up with. One is just really thanking you for coming out and sharing your thoughts with us. It is important. I'm so excited with the colleagues that I have. You all have a very strong board. We have 4 teachers on this board. And so it's really, exciting for me to continue to work with them, but it was important to us that we listen to the community and what you all feel that you need. And in doing that, we're hosting a couple of town halls. We're meeting directly with just us and the principals to hear their needs. We are creating a community search committee. Each board member was able to nominate 2 people, and then we've selected individuals from every area. We have 2 bus drivers, 2 custodians, 2 people from maintenance, 2 teachers, 2 paraprofessionals. So we're pulling the staff together along with the community, and we will be having a couple of meetings with them as well to hear from them what they feel that we need. And so we're really making sure, that we are staying engaged and listening to what you all need. I want to thank Region 4 because they're attending these meetings. They're going to capture all the input. They're leading our surveys, and they will be able to provide us with an executive summary on what everyone has shared and what our top key priorities are, so that when we're interviewing, we know what you all want us to be looking for. And so we're really excited about the process that we're using. So encourage everyone to fill out the survey link that you have. Share it with your neighbors, and so that we can get as much feedback as we possibly can. And in doing that, I just wanted to take a time to market an initiative that this board has done. We're the only board, I believe, in the state, and we were even asked to present at a conference where we're hosting continued opportunities for community feedback. It's called Building Bridges and our Table Talks. And I know some of you all have attended them. We've done it for the last 3 years, where we sit down with just the community and have you all have an opportunity to come in and talk directly with us. So if you can keep your eyes out for when we're promoting that on our social media sites, Building Bridges. We want to continue to host opportunities like this. And we've been doing that, and we're going to continue to do it moving forward. So the Building Bridges is the community. The Table Talks is where we sit down and talk with staff. And so keep your eyes out for that so we can keep this dialogue going. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this evening.
Wrap up this morning.
This morning, I'm so used to chairing this meeting at night.
President Durant?
Yes.
I want to make sure that you counted Kelly P's arrival.
Yes, at 9:10.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Didn't want to call her out like that in this one. Trustee Hodges joined us at 9:10 a.m. And so we will now conclude this morning's meeting. And so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam President, I move that we adjourn today's special call meeting of the Spring ISD Board of Trustees.
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Hodges and seconded by Trustee McDaniel to adjourn this morning's meeting. Is there any discussion?
I just wanted to quickly say thank you. Just thank you for coming. It means a lot.
Yeah, you guys hang in there with us. We have, this is a big job, and we want to make sure we get the right person. All right. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. We adjourn this morning's meeting at 11:01 p.m. Thank you. AM. AM.